School was a bit rough today. Me and my best friend are not friends anymore, and it made me really sad. I was just wondering if we can talk about it.
Oh, you know what, Shay? Things like that happen and everything's going to be cool. Just maybe go grab a snack. That always helps me to feel better. That'll help you feel better.
Okay.
And yeah, I think you're going to be okay.
Okay.
Today, we're going to be talking about attunement. Attunement to ourselves and to others. As you saw from that example, it didn't seem like I was quite attuned to my daughter's needs. Throughout this video, we're going to be going back to that example to demonstrate how we can be attuned to others, and most importantly, how we can attune to ourselves as well. Attunement is a term that refers to the ability to sense and respond to the emotional needs and moods of others. In the example in the beginning, my daughter came with a need about how she was feeling due to an argument with a schoolmate. I didn't look up at her. I didn't make eye contact with her. I didn't acknowledge her feelings. And she walked away from that conversation, I'm guessing, not feeling great. In the comments, I would love for you to tell me how you felt while watching that beginning clip. What came up for you? If we think about attunement, I want you to visualize a parent with a child, a small child, a baby. And I want you to visualize that baby crying. So what do we normally do when a baby is crying? Well, we might pick up the baby. So we're holding the baby. We're going to probably look at the baby. The baby is in distress. We're most likely going to mirror the baby's reactions. We're going to have a concerned face. We might then rock the baby. We're going to talk in a calm tone with the baby. And what we're doing here is we're creating safety for that baby. The baby stops crying. We might provide more physical connection with the baby, so hold the baby up nice and close. Still looking at the baby. And then when the baby settles, we settle. What's happening is the baby is borrowing our nervous system. The baby is borrowing our calm presence. Other things can happen when we're attuning. So same example, baby crying, pick up baby. And now maybe I'm misattuned. I'm not attuning to myself. So here we go. I'm picking up the baby. Baby's crying. I go to baby. Why are you crying? I don't understand. You're fed. You've slept. I don't know what else to do. So I'm not mirroring the baby's emotions. I'm showing them different emotions, which is causing now a mismatch. And then maybe I'm trying to put a toy in the baby's face. Like, oh, here's a toy. Here's something. Maybe I'm smiling at the baby. You just need to be happy, baby. Why aren't you being happy? The baby starts crying more. What's happening here? Well, I'm misattuned with myself because I can't handle the baby's strong emotions. So I'm not being authentic in how I'm behaving. And the baby is picking up on that. And the baby is getting more frustrated. Now the baby isn't borrowing my nervous system because my nervous system is flooded. My nervous system doesn't know what to do. And I'm trying to do whatever it takes to get this baby to be quiet. What is misattunement? It is the lack of rapport or relationship between two individuals, where one individual's efforts at communication and expression are not being responded to in a way that allows them to feel heard. Do you see what the differences are with attunement and misattunement? In the example in the beginning, my child is older, but I was still misattuning to her. I wasn't receptive to her feelings. I wasn't letting her borrow my nervous system to get regulated. Why is that? Because maybe I had a caregiver who wasn't good at attuning with me, so therefore I don't know how to attune with others. Let's dive into what self-attunement is. Self-attunement is the ability that we have for ourselves to dive into our emotions, our behaviors, and what we're experiencing and feeling within our bodies. We can struggle with self-attunement if we had misattunement when we were growing up from caregivers. Now, just as a disclaimer, I'm not blaming anyone for this. Caregivers do the best they can with what they have and the knowledge they have. Let's say your caregiver really struggled with your emotions while growing up. So those could be emotions of sadness, happiness, fear, anger. Well, what tends to happen is if those emotions weren't nurtured or we weren't attuned to when we were having those big feelings, we don't really know how to manage those feelings as we grow up, which then trickles down to how we parent or attune to others in our worlds when they're struggling with the same types of emotions. Let's solidify this with a concrete example. Maybe you grew up in a family where the only emotion you were allowed to have was feeling happy, and all of the other emotions weren't allowed. And if you demonstrated those other emotions, there was misattunement. So maybe that led to punishment, discipline, invalidation, or criticism. Let's zoom in a little bit further. So within the circle, we were only allowed to demonstrate joy. We weren't allowed to demonstrate sadness, fear, anger, shame, or curiosity. Or maybe we were allowed to partially feel those feelings and get attunement from our caregiver, but maybe it just wasn't enough. So now, in present day, we don't know what to do when people express those feelings that are outside of the circle. So let's do a little bit of a summary. We started off talking about what attunement is. We also talked about misattunement. Then we transitioned into what self-attunement is and the reasons why we might have difficulty attuning to others and ourselves. In this part of the video, I'd like us to explore some strategies we can start using to build up self-attunement for ourselves, which then in turn will help us be able to better attune with others. Exercise number 1. We need to start getting curious. So do you remember that diagram I showed you in the example just now with the circles? In the description box, you can download a copy of that sheet. And I want you to start getting curious about which feelings were allowed within your house growing up and which feelings weren't. And then the next step to that is, when I encounter those experiences, emotions, feelings, what do I notice in my body? And how do I react to the other? Another strategy that we can utilize is to sit with ourselves and start uncovering those limited beliefs that we have adopted because of misattunement from the past. I've done a whole video on uncovering limiting beliefs that I will link in the description. Feel free to take a watch of that video and do the exercises located within that video, which will help us to start self-attuning. The last strategy I'm going to be talking about is utilizing mindfulness. Mindfulness gives us the ability to be fully present with ourselves. It's a great practice to help us to start attuning to what's happening within us and also attuning to what's happening for others around us. There are lots of great apps that are free that you can utilize to access mindfulness. One of the apps I use is called Balance. It's a meditation app. I start with 5 minutes a day, and it helps me to really tune into myself and what's going on for me, which then leads me to be able to be aware of how I'm tuning into others. The last time I checked, it was free for a year, so a really good find to start your journey here. We want to start feeling our feelings, but also feeling those physiological reactions that we're having in our body. Once we can understand what's happening without looking to distract ourselves, we can start doing that repair work for ourselves, within ourselves, and for the other relationships that we are involved in, be it a parent-child relationship, a romantic relationship, a friendship. Once we learn these skills of attunement and self-attunement, then we can be more present for ourselves and for other people. I also want to acknowledge that none of this is easy. It is a journey, and it takes practice to really learn how to self-attune and to attune with others. So please be patient with yourselves. Please be kind to yourselves. And just get curious. Curiosity is the way that we can make change. I wasn't going to leave you hanging with just showing you the example in the beginning. So I will show you an example now of what it looks like to attune to someone else. Just so everyone knows, my daughter was a willing participant in filming these scenarios.
Hi. What's up? School was like a bit rough today. Because me and my best friend are like not friends anymore. We like broke up, and like that really made me sad.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that. What happened?
So basically, me and her were playing at recess, and then I was playing with a different person, and I said, "Come on, guys," and I'm guessing she didn't hear me, and then she was on this thing all alone, and I'm guessing she thinks I forgot about her. Now she thinks I'm not like a real friend, and now she doesn't want to be friends with me anymore.
Oh, it sounds really hard.
Yeah,
Is there anything I can do to help?
I'm not sure.
Want a hug?